Who's in the kitchen? What? You're out of bed? Are you okay? You need me to get you anything? Are you feeling better? Oh, okay. That's good. Are all the kids asleep? I had to jerk my kids. I feel so bad. We give them melatonin sometimes just so they'll like go to sleep. And she hasn't been feeling good, so I was like, oh, I gotta put the kids down by myself. So I just gave them some melatonin and knocked them out. Is it ethical? No. Is it effective? Absolutely.
If it helps them get a good night's sleep and relax, as you know, opposed to not, maybe you can argue that it is ethical.
Are we streaming?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh! No.
I told you we were.
I didn't. Okay, all right. I just talked publicly about drugging my children. Great.
Medicating, not drugging. Big difference.
It's okay. It was only your mom listening.
Gosh. Ah. Okay.
Before Donovan says anything else embarrassing.
I heard nothing. Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Good to be back.
I miss you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So much has changed.
Yep. All right. You guys set?
Almost.
I'm set.
What's up, Internet? You're listening to the Making Geeks podcast for makers, families, and geeks.
What's going on, people?
Long time no see, guys.
Been a while.
Mm-hmm. A month?
It's only been 2 weeks, right?
It's been, well,
3 weeks?
yeah, well, 3 weeks since the last one, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I know the last month has been kind of inconsistent because I think Wes was out. We put up from the vaults, and then we did one podcast, I think, and then I was out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we've
I think.
got 2 in the bag for June, but I think just barely. I think this one has 4 Thursdays in it, or 5 Thursdays.
Probably. I think.
Yeah, 5.
Anyways.
Yep.
So, what you guys been up to? I mean, it's been a long time.
Had
I
people.
can go first.
Go ahead, do it.
So I missed the last 2 weeks because the first week, or that first week I was gone or out, I was at Disneyland, and I went to Disneyland and California Adventure in that same week, and I have not been in probably 6 years at least, something like that. So it's kind of like going back for the first time in a very, very long time. Got to see Galaxy's Edge for the first time. Thought it was pretty cool, pretty amazing. Excuse me. Always wanting more, I think. So it was.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him.
Audio cut out.
I'm here. You guys hear me?
Maybe scoot a little closer, maybe.
Is that better?
Yeah, it was just cutting in and out. So just tell me this. You said it was amazing, and that's the last thing we heard.
It was amazing, and it was really immersive. Everything that I think you would probably come to expect based on what everybody else says. I think there's always a desire for there to be just like a little bit. Some cases.
Can't hear you.
Now he's gone. Now I can't hear you at all. It's like you'll start off, and then it'll get like glitchier and glitchier and kind of fade and then disappear. Like a battery is dying or something.
I wonder if my mic is starting to go out, but I guess we'll try it again.
Okay.
The joys of a podcast.
Welcome to the Making Geeks podcast.
But when I was there, when I was at Galaxy's Edge, the only thing I could think about is why isn't there just like a Star Wars theme park on its own somewhere? Because it just doesn't seem like enough. And there's no, and at least in California, there's nowhere else to expand for it to make it, even better. So,
only way to build is up.
Say it again.
Only way to build is up.
Yeah, but I mean, they can't. They're not going to build too much higher there. It doesn't make sense for that area. They've already built down quite a bit, and that's how they've accommodated some of the additional attractions like Rise of the Resistance. That I thought was really incredible, and it's probably one of the most amazing illusions I've seen.
It is. It like redefines what a ride is.
Yeah,
it's more than a ride. Yeah.
How they did and how they hit it. I mean, they have basically a false mountain that you can't even tell, and I think most of it is in there. But it was really impressive, and the whole immersiveness of it, and the Smuggler's Run I thought was really fun too, except that unless you're the two pilots, it's kind of not as pleasant an experience. Why don't you guys talk?
All right, we'll fill in the gaps here. How was your time off there, Donovan?
It was very busy. Very busy. I got my secret project done finally, which I'm really excited about, because now I can ship that off. But first, I got to find a way to ship it off. I'm so happy. It took me, let's see, when did I start this? March, April, May, June. Like, it took me 3 months to complete this project, which is another Legend of Zelda house that I built, small scale this time. But I finally got it done, and I'm so happy that it's done, and it's gonna find its new home. And other than that, for this past week, I've been in New Orleans for work with SketchUp at a convention called ISTE, which is International Science and Technology and Education Conference convention in the French Quarter in New Orleans, and it was massive. There was like 4,000 different businesses and companies there. There was 16,000 attendees. The convention center that we were at was a mile long, and so I feel old saying this, you get your steps in at this convention, and it was an amazing experience going there. I got to talk to a bunch of people while I was working the booth at SketchUp. I realized that not a lot of people know SketchUp, and those people that do know SketchUp only know SketchUp from his time at Google when it was free. We had people come up to us like, I'm so mad at you. SketchUp's not free anymore. It's like, it is, but it's different. So it was kind of fun demoing SketchUp for people and showing them the capabilities of using the program and just trying to have fun with it. It was all teachers and IT administrators and educators and whatnot. So it was like specific to them and how they could use SketchUp in the classroom, which was kind of fun talking to them about different ways that they could use SketchUp in the classroom. But other than that, it was amazing seeing all of the other businesses and companies that were there and all of the creativity and innovation and like technology. It was unfathomable and unfathomable. It was really cool seeing some of the stuff that people were there presenting and coming up with. Granted, 98% of everything there was completely impractical.
Really?
Super cool, but completely
Give us a little example.
Well, so it's like there was this one company that was kind of one of the highlights of the convention that had like center stage in the arena, and what they make is they make this digital whiteboard. It's not a whiteboard because it's transparent, but the teacher stands behind this glass and writes on the screen, and the front side of the screen flips what's going on in the back side of the screen, so the teacher can write like you normally do, rather than writing backwards like you would have to do if you were writing on, like if you were in the military and writing on a screen, standing on one side of the screen for somebody else to read it on the other side of the screen. Because that's the only thing I could think of the whole time I was watching their demonstrations. It's like, yeah, if you're on a sub, did the teachers have to write backwards? That's really good handwriting for somebody that's writing backwards. But apparently no, they write the right side and then it flips it and like projects it on the front side of it, but it's still see-through, so they can see the teacher.
So it's like Minority Report or something?
Yeah, like super cool technology, but impractical. Who is going to put that? I was like, what classroom are you going to put this in? Who can invest the thousands and thousands of dollars in the equipment to put this in a classroom setting where kids would just break it? But like
Weird.
I said, it's super cool just to see the innovation and the technology there. There was a lot of STEM, a lot of coding, a lot of like architecture. Architecture was another big one. You know, again, being SketchUp, we were there kind of fitting in with the architecture crowd. But there was also a lot of 3D printer companies. There was a lot of laser cutter companies. Glowforge was there. Got to talk to Glowforge. It was like Workbench Con times 200. Just the sheer amount of stuff that was there.
Can a regular person like go to that, or is it just like industry people? Like, could I buy a ticket to that and go?
Yeah, you can buy a ticket to it and go as just an attendee. Yeah. Instead of an educator. It's expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
As much as Workbench Con?
Like, it's kind of like Workbench Con. The tickets themselves are hundreds of dollars, and they're tiers. Like Lego was one of the main sponsors for the event.
Oh wow.
So was Unreal. Unreal was there, and they brought like 25 laptops and were teaching people how to like build stuff in the Unreal Engine and how to implement it in a classroom setting.
That's smart.
There was also a few esports companies that were there. MSI was there, BenQ was there, Acer was there. There was a lot of like computer companies and stuff kind of showcasing their esport capabilities. It was super cool. Like I am so glad I went, and I got to experience New Orleans French Quarter. I stayed in the Hotel Monteleone, which is apparently a really famous hotel that's super old, looks like a palace on the inside. The rooms are super tiny compared to like modern day hotel rooms where you walk in, it's just like it's a bed, it's a desk, and there's a bathroom with a little tub. But it was cool experiencing New Orleans because I had never been before.
Is it always in that city?
No, it's not always in that city.
Okay.
It was just there this time. I think next time it's going to be in Phoenix next year. So completely cool event. Totally worth going to, even if you're not a teacher. But that's I actually just got back from that yesterday, so I'm kind of coming off of, trip, vacation, high. Every meal I had in that city was amazing. The food was so good. Oh my gosh. I got to eat at Hotel Café du Mont, which is like this cafe from the 1800s. It started in like 1802 or something like that, and it's still in business. And eating
beignets.
Beignets, muffulettas, and oh my gosh, the food was just incredible. I was like, if I stayed in the city, I would look like everybody else who lives in the city. Very big people, just because the food is incredible. But it was an experience. It's a very dirty city. Bourbon Street is, everything smells like pee and garbage.
Yay.
But the buildings are gorgeous, and it's an experience. It's definitely an experience.
I actually marched in a parade down that street one time. It wasn't for Mardi Gras. It was like a couple weeks before Mardi Gras. I don't think I've ever talked about this. So I've talked about being in the military before, in the Navy, but this is like a subset I don't really talk about much. So there was a secondary school that I went to that was in Pensacola, and the training was for like teaching me how to be an aviation electrician, which is was my primary job. It's like the school after boot camp to teach you like your specialty. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, I had an opportunity. There was kind of like an extra level that you could kind of apply to that was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was kind of like a extracurricular thing, but it changed the way the whole school worked. And I applied for it, and that's where they have stuff like color guard and other. They have like a marching, they have like a rifle spending marching group, and they also had like a trick marching group. That it was sort of like they used it for like PR stuff outside of the base. So they would go to like different events in different states in that region around Pensacola to have like Navy people. It's kind of like a less flashy version of the Blue Angels, like with humans instead of airplanes. So like I was like in this
So
group.
when you say marching, you mean like military parade marching?
Yeah, we were like in like formation and like marching, and there was two like subgroups. One of them specialized in like spinning rifles while they're marching and doing like tricks with the rifles. You know, kind of like
Mhm.
batons, but like more dangerous because they all had like
Yeah, yeah.
bayonets on the ends. And then there was the other group that I was in. They called it the Cracker Jacks, which is a nickname for a sailor that wore like the blue or the black outfit that you typically see like old school Navy, like kind of like
Mhm.
Donald Duck wore, and those are called Cracker Jacks. And so this it was called the Cracker Jack Marching Unit, and by me like I had to apply for it, and it had other like you had to like train for this like every day. It was like an hour or two worth of marching after school, but we would like be able to do things like off base and get other privileges outside of this extra requirement that a normal person on base wouldn't get. But long story long, I basically got to march in different things. And one of the parades that we were in was in Mardi Gras, not Mardi Gras, in New Orleans, and it was a couple
Yeah.
weeks before Mardi Gras. And so like they would have us marching, and we would be able to do like these different. There was like 10 of us, 10 or 12 of us wide. It was like, kind of like a matrix of humans, and we're all like marching in step like you would expect. But then they would have different commands where like people would like turn towards each other and like do all these sort of intercross. I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of it's like a very coordinated, like how drones nowadays they're like the coordinated like little swarms of drones. It's like
No,
that
I'm picking up
idea.
what you're putting down. I can picture it in my head.
It looks cool, like from a front view and a side view and a top view, like all these people like coordinating kind of different sort of movements to kind of end up in different places and stuff. It sounds less interesting than I guess it is, but when you're in there, it's pretty neat. And then we were like marching with the rifle guys, and we had this thing where they would be in front of us. It was like another group of like 80 people or whatever, and they would like spin, like do an about face while they're marching, and they would come towards us, and they would like spin the rifles like at a certain rhythm, and we would like cross in between, like our ranks would cross through and like almost get a rifle in the face if you're like out of step. And so it was kind of interesting. So I don't get to talk about that much. I kind of forget about it sometimes, but it was a fun little sub chapter in my life. That, and we got to wear like the fancier I don't even know what they call them. They're sort of like in another level above like the dress uniform. They have like the spats and like different like ropes and stuff you see like when people do like funerals and for like in Washington DC and like other like higher tier like parade kind of
It's like a ceremonial.
ceremonial. Yeah, exactly. It was like a ceremonial kind of thing, and you don't really see that very much, so it was kind of neat to have that opportunity. But anyways, let's get back on topic. Sorry about the diversion, but you kind of reminded
No,
me
no,
of
no,
stuff
no,
that I
no.
hadn't thought about
We
in a
don't
long
have
time.
a topic, so that you're on topic being off topic.
Sweet.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
I think I've seen something like that once where it was just the gun twirling,
Mm-hmm.
and it scared the crap out of me because I didn't know they were gonna fire the guns. So they were like twirling it, like doing all the fancy stuff. Then they go boom, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, and they throw them up and stuff. Not throw them up, but toss them up into the air and
Yeah.
catch them, and do all kinds of things that they shouldn't be
Like a
doing with
baton.
like a
with a
baton.
gun.
Yes, with a bayonet.
Yeah, that is cool. I did not know that about you. I'd never heard that story before.
Yeah, I'll have to look up some videos and see if anybody happened to record that stuff or if they do a different version of it somewhere. But let's see. Going back to what I did this last couple weeks.
Mhm.
Most recently, I had a buddy of mine that I've talked about several times on this channel or on this podcast. My buddy Travis, who lives in Wyoming. I've gone out to see him many times. And if we had recorded last week, he would have been sitting beside me. We could have like had him in, and like he could have told some other Navy stories. But all of us should have been here. All of us needed to be here for it because he has some stories. And I invited Nicole and Turi from When Geeks Craft over one night, and we all got to hang out and stuff. And they heard some crazy stories from him. He was overseas during the whole Afghanistan evacuation and everything, so he has some interesting perspectives on things that he is allowed to talk about. But it was good to catch up with him. He was only here for like 4 or 5 days, 4 days, I think. Really quick turnaround. But we just kind of hung out and played some video games, played StarCraft. I actually introduced him to Minecraft. He never played it before. And so it was kind of fun to see him, punch trees and fend off zombies with nothing but like a piece of bamboo, that kind of fun stuff. So besides that, not really too much going on. Just my daughter graduated from elementary school, so she's going into middle school next. Thank you.
Oh
In the
man.
fall, so we did all the graduation stuff and got her a phone. So that was like a big step for us as parents, and also for her as a kid. Give a little more autonomy and stuff when all the extra things happen at school that she needs a communication line to get a hold of us. So we're just trying to figure out all the details and all the regulations, and regulations is a little bit strict of a word, but all the different restrictions we'll put in place. I'm sure a lot of them will be retroactive, but we're trying to be ahead of the game a little bit for that. So think about me of the struggles that I might be going through in the future.
I have 2 kids that'll be in middle school this year.
Oof.
It's weird.
Must
Daughter's
be.
in 6th, and my son's in 8th, which means next year he's going to be a high schooler.
Oh man.
Yep.
Wait, this coming up, like this coming year, like within
No,
in a
he's
couple
going
months.
into 8th grade, but
Okay, going into 8th.
get ready to start high school.
We didn't mention this up top, and for those of you that aren't on our live feed, which you should be every Thursday evening, on the Making Geeks podcast channel on YouTube. But if you're not, you will have missed that Sean looks completely different. He is beardless. I'm not the only beardless one here anymore.
I still have more facial hair than you.
I know.
after 2 days.
I haven't shaved since I've been back, but yeah.
I only shaved 2 days ago, and it's already pretty good 5 o'clock shadow.
So this is a yearly tradition.
Yeah.
The
to make
point
sure I
and
still
purpose of
look
which just to refresh.
Well, I mean, there's part of that, but it's also almost medical in nature, just making sure that everything's okay underneath. I have a little something on my face. I have to kind of keep track of your
Mm-hmm.
shirts. Still doing okay, but feels good to kind of start over. Make my daughter cry because she hates it when I shave.
So you did I saw your Instagram stories where you do all the steps where you shave it in different phases. Do you show the rest of your family each phase, or do you just take a picture, shave, take a picture, shave?
I have before, but I don't, because like each progressive time just makes them more upset because they don't want me to shave. It is something I mess around with each year.
It's like watching those videos on YouTube where like the dad walks into the bathroom and comes out all shaved, and the baby just starts crying because they don't recognize who it is anymore. I think if I grew a beard, my kids would cry. So, because they really wouldn't recognize me. Nobody would recognize me if I grew a beard.
My wife hates it too, because it's really rough for at least about a week. Because it starts out and it's like 80 grit. Now it's about 120.
Mm-hmm.
Popping up a little bit.
Cuts down on the cuddle time when you're so abrasive, huh? So what else has been going on with you guys? Anything? Oh, I did want to show you something. Again, if you're on the live, you get to see this. If you're not, so Hobby Lobby is like clearancing out a bunch of stuff, and I went and bought a atypical summer Cancun picture frame canvas, because for those of you that don't know, I do a lot of video editing for Jess Crow, and she does a lot of painting. She paints on epoxy mainly, and a lot of her projects lately have been a lot of painting projects and painting mountains and very Bob Ross style kind of stuff. And editing all of her videos kind of got me in the mood to try painting. And so I went and got this picture of, I don't even know where this is, at a beach, an ocean somewhere with a dock. Very pretty picture. But what I want to do is I want to paint the dragon boat in the water, and I want to paint Link up on the dock to turn this kind of atypical, boring summer picture into my own version of geek art. And so that's going to be one of my upcoming projects, is my foray into painting over photography, because I thought that would be fun.
I've always wanted to get an old piece of artwork from like a thrift store, and paint some sort of something geeky in it, and then return it back to the thrift store.
Right? Well, because like I was in Hobby Lobby getting something for my son, and I saw this picture of like those "Not All Who Wander Are Lost," artsy picture frames, and it had a river, and I was just like, it would be so fun to just put like a little Link cutout from Link's Awakening of him fishing just right on this picture. And then it got me thinking, and then I was like, well, why not paint it on there? What if I like took a picture and I painted it? Yeah. So it became a whole thing, and now I have a picture of a beach on canvas in a frame. My brain is broken. This is how projects happen.
Speaking of beach and nautical things, I bought Sea of Thieves today. It was half off on Steam. So that's 2 years too late, but it's usually
It's
how
okay.
I go. Yeah.
Have you played it yet?
No, I haven't even installed it. Just bought it today.
I had to stop playing that game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I love Sea of Thieves. Like, don't get me wrong. It is an incredible game. It is a fun game, but man, if you want a game where you rage quit so hard, that is perfect for that kind of just infuriation.
Yeah, I heard that something can attack you or something. You lose everything. How do your rage quits are induced? How are they induced?
So, the
Good
thing
English.
about
Good English.
Sea of Thieves is that yeah. The thing about Sea of Thieves is that you only gain experience when you turn in treasure. So it's not going out on these quests. It's not doing the storylines. It's not doing anything. Like, the only time you get experience is when you turn in the chest of gold, or the spices, or the silks, or whatever, when you turn in your cargo, your loot. The last time that I played Sea of Thieves, my friends and I went out on one of these story quests, where you follow the story, you go to different islands, you like dig up buried treasure, you fight like skeleton bosses and stuff like that. Really super fun. The only way to play the game is to play with other people. Like, super fun. We spent 6 hours doing this quest, where we got the loot, got the treasure, like did all of the, went to all the places, fought all the bad guys, invaded the fort and defeated all the skeletons, all that kind of stuff. As we were going back to turn in our loot, there was a boat that had been circling the island where you turn in your loot, and they attacked us, and they sunk us and stole our treasure and turned it in, and we gained no experience from 6 hours worth of work. And that is the last time I played that game, because I'm like, nope.
Is that a boat full of other humans that are waiting for you?
Yeah, boat full of it's other people. Yep.
Well, it is
pirate it's a game. Like, it's a pirate game, yes. But it encourages piracy and not gameplay. I couldn't play it after that. I'm like,
I can see how that's
we just spent 6 hours doing something and have nothing to show for it. I mean, which people think that's what video games are anyway, but still. But still, super fun game. If you want to play it sometime, I'm down to go on a pirate quest with you. But
show me the ropes.
Okay.
Yeah. Had a couple other people that were telling me about it. Jordan Rimple, one of our Patreons from patreon.com/makinggeeks, he told me about it. So he's been speaking it up for a while, and I saw it was on sale, so why not? It's a summer sale kind of thing to do on Steam. I need to stay away from there. It's a dangerous place for my PayPal account to be linked to, but I'll go with one game for now. That seems like a safe bet. I don't know.
Nintendo is doing the same thing right now on their e-store. Yep, half off.
Their sales are never as good as Steam, though.
Yeah.
No, I know. I know. But still, getting into, my wife bought a Switch, and my son has been teaching her how to play Fortnite. It's super cute. But But there are games that I'm like, oh, I want to play that. Oh, I want to play that. Now seems like a good time to scratch that itch. Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself out of not getting any more games because I'm like, I have got so much on my plate. I don't need to be playing any games.
Yeah, but you have all that time on planes to play now.
That is true. So going out to New Orleans, I don't know why this is a good business model, but every flight was oversold. And so there was like 30 people from every flight that they had to bump. And so my flight going from Tulsa to Dallas, because there's no direct flights out of Tulsa, you always have to go somewhere else. So going from Tulsa to Dallas was fine, but the second I got into Dallas, I got bumped from my first flight, which I was like, okay, you know, they gave me a voucher and a little bit of compensation, you know, for having been bumped from my flight. And so I got put on the next flight, and then I got up from that flight, and then I got put on the next flight, and I got up from that flight. So 29 hours later, I finally got to New Orleans. Yeah.
Ugh.
It was an ordeal, and it was Dallas Love Field and not Dallas Fort Worth. And it's a nice little airport. It's a little airport. It is just one terminal with like 20 different, you know, little spots for planes to take off of. But I was stuck there all day. And man, it's being stuck in an airport is not the funnest experience. Granted, I do love traveling. And so like even when you're stuck in an airport, I would have preferred it than just turn around and go back home and not travel and have the experience. But still, it was rough. That was a rough day. I did not sleep. But I got there. And got to experience New Orleans in this ISTE event.
Did they have time built into the front so it didn't affect your event very much, or what?
Yeah, I was supposed to show up a day early to help set up and do orientation and all of the pre-events that the top tier patrons. I got the word patron stuck in my head. Attendees get to take part in the day before the actual event when the general masses get to come in. So I missed out on all of that, but still was able to get there in time to miss my first shift. And so they bumped me to the afternoon shift, and I was still there to be able to stand at the booth and be like, hey, we're SketchUp. Have you ever heard of us before? You're owned by Google? Not anymore. But you've heard of us, apparently. So it was great. And that was that. Thanks, guys. Good job. Here we're good.
We're just making sure we covered our bases here.
Yeah.
I spent all last week in Las Vegas visiting my family, and got to spend some time with my brother and his family. And first time we've ever met up there, and that was a pretty cool experience. His kids are a little bit older, and we're able to be with my kids, and hopefully we can make that into kind of a yearly type of event. And I give my dad a belated Father's Day gift. I don't know if you've ever seen online the picture where you see like an old, like a vintage military uniform, and it'll be like somebody else's, like a family member that they put their head on it.
Like photoshopping, you got to practice your Photoshop skills.
Yeah, so, I mean that's essentially what I did. I kind of want to do an actual pure painting of it, but it was kind of a last minute thing that I had decided on. So I found a really good picture of my dad that my daughter had taken. Probably about 6 months old. Suitable picture.
I think we lost you again.
Yeah. Cool story, bro. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Cool story, bro.
Yeah, that's better.
I wonder if OBS is causing part of the problem that it shouldn't. I'm going to ditch that for right now and see if that changes anything. Anyway, so it was kind of a last minute decision, so I kind of put that together in Photoshop, tried to do the color matching the best I could. And it's funny because the picture that I had my dad was perfect, crystal clear, perfect lighting and everything. But the painting was, his age, it's got brush strokes, so I had to kind of make it match that, and I think it came out pretty good. My dad liked it. I don't think I've ever seen him laugh so hard. So now my son calls him General. Every time he sees him. It was a good time seeing my family and stuff.
I was about to ask if you had finished the scratcher, because wasn't that going to be the ultimate gift for your dad eventually?
I have not been able to get out in the shop to do much, because also in the meantime I built a pool in my backyard. So it's one of those above ground pools. It's a pretty big size though. It's 12 by 20, 6,000 gallons.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's more than just a wading pool.
Yeah, it is a little bit more than just a wading pool. Has to have like a full filter system and everything. I have to manage the chemicals in it, and I think I'm the only one that's been in it so far too, which is kind of weird.
Huh.
And my wife keeps asking, "Well, do you like them?" Well, yeah, but you gave me something else to,
Keep up with.
take care of, keep track of every day now.
You gave me a pet.
I don't think I haven't been in the shop in almost probably a month.
So what is your next project that you're going to be working on then?
I have 2 other laser videos I'm still responsible for doing, and I have another laser coming in the mail. I have something else coming in from X-Tool, and I'm still waiting for Full Spectrum to finalize the contract.
Mex Tool?
X-Tool.
Okay. Cool.
Lots of laser stuff.
Wes, what are you like on the pipeline? What are you working on?
I haven't really been doing much, to be honest. I've got one that I've been dinking with for like forever. It's Star Wars related. After finishing up Kenobi, it makes me want to do it. It makes me not want to do it at the same time. So I don't know. It's something.
Is it something you can talk about?
I've talked about it before. It's the doorbell droid one.
Oh yeah.
Like I've gone through several iterations of that. Like one where I had a model that someone else made, and it wasn't really made to be like animatronically controlled, and so I've started modeling it myself in Fusion because I should have done that to begin with. Why do I ever think that a shortcut's going to help me? Because it usually doesn't. But before I actually finish that, I want to put the finishing touches on my pit droid, which isn't for a video, but it would be cool to have that in the video, to hold tools for me, or to just be like beat up on them like on camera or something like that. Like it'd be kind of fun for some little joke moments and stuff. So that's really.
You can have like sticks with him and somebody behind him, kind of operating him like a puppet, so that there's movement. Or
maybe
is he just standing there?
I might print out. I'll have to buy the other version. There's a version from the same modeler who has like the bopped head version where they're like collapsed. Like in the shows and stuff, when someone hits one of the pit droids on the head, they collapse into like a folded form. But it's not actually like physically possible for it to do that. It's like the geometry is like cutting into itself in reality, so it's not like physically able to take that shape between the different forms. So you have to print another one. So maybe I can bump it and then do like a camera cut or something where he's like collapsed on the next time I pan over at him or something like that, because maybe he dropped a tool or whatever the joke is, right? And I've been trying to think of how to integrate that into like other ideas of little shots and other gimmicks and stuff. Like because we don't have a peephole for the front door. We have no way to see through it unless I look at one of the cameras that's on the porch. And so I was thinking like for like one of the shots I could like daydream me like using a lightsaber and like punching a hole through the door with the lightsaber and actually do like an After Effects shot of it like emerging, through the front of the door, and then just maybe a blaster or some other things. I'm not really sure. Just kind of sketching it out in my mind before I do any work, which usually makes all my videos take 10 times as long because I'm like trying to go through all the process before actually doing it, and I never do it. So maybe I'll get there one day before we move from this house. Who knows? But
whoever buys your house has got to be a geek. That's all I'm saying.
And we've had some other things going around at the house that have been taking my attention, like other house upgrades and things that are taking way too long. We get some contractors building some stuff in our backyard and on our deck and patio, and it's like 98% done, and they're like losing focus on that last 2%, which is like making us kind of annoyed that we're having to like keep up with a general contractor that we're paying to keep up with other people. And it's like, what are we paying you for if we're having to like manage you, which you're supposed to manage other folks? And it's just irritating. So especially from like my wife's standpoint, because she does like that sort of internal operations of a business and how to make them more efficient. So her watching this guy do the stuff he's doing just like drives her up a wall, which is kind of funny to watch. But I had my birthday over the last couple weeks. I don't know if did I cover that in a no. I guess we weren't here. I got a replacement drone because I happened to crash one a couple weeks ago in my backyard. It found my little baby FPV drone that I fly every once in a while. That is like my one recreational thing that's not tied to anything geeksmithing related, you know. And somehow, in flying it over 2 different yards worth of real estate, I managed to find the only puddle that existed and like destroy the thing. So I got another one for my birthday, so I'm working on getting that up and running. So going through all the synchronization process, and there's some software stuff you have to do with it to have it talk to my little flight controller remote control. So hopefully I'll get that up and running and do some backflips and stuff.
So does that mean that you and Terry are eventually going to like, I don't know, do aeronautical?
Yeah.
But not like fights or anything like that, but like super cool like
chase
FPV,
scenes and stuff. Yeah.
Chase scenes and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to do that. We've done that in the backyard here. Since he's moved here, we've kind of done that every once in a while. And then since I've redone the back area, there's like a lot more stuff to fly under and fly between and through. And so like we have this whole section under our deck that's even larger now that we're thinking of putting like lit tunnels and other kind of things that you see in other like drone racing courses. And so that might be a cool video of how to like build your own stuff and light it up and kind of do some cool stuff there. So that might be a neat video. Maybe it's like a collaboration between my channel and theirs. And also, that's another thing, is I've been going over there last couple weeks and helping Nicole with her giant stained glass project, which is absolutely incredibly insane. If someone on this that listens to us does not follow When Geeks Craft, shame on you. First off, where have you been? You need to follow that channel because they have a giant project coming out that's been taking her months and months. That finally I saw like the end of the finish line. Like it's so close and it looks bananas. She's teased a lot of it on Instagram, but seeing it in first person and firsthand is something else. Just the scale of it is insane. Considering it's like her 3rd or 4th stained glass thing she's ever done, like she's crazy in the best way possible.
And they just released a video today that I would recommend everybody go check out. Yeah.
Oh wait, they did? I haven't checked YouTube so far today. What video is for today?
It's the Hellfire Club from Stranger Things, based like a
journal,
leather-bound journal with a field notes inside it.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah, they did a good job, as usual.
I'll have to go watch that like 3 or 4 times.
Yup. What you guys been geeking out about?
I'm geeking out about a game right now, another simulation game, which is a driving game, which is Forza Horizon 5. I love driving and racing games, and I'm pretty obsessed with this one. I think I bought it about 2 weeks ago, and I probably already have 15 hours into it. It's probably one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played. It's a shame that it says driving, but it's absolutely stunning, and it's a ton of fun. I've dropped the big bucks to get the deluxe version with all the extras, and it's kind of keeping me going. I'm a little bit obsessed right now.
What are all the extras in a game like that?
Extra cars and credits towards stuff, and I don't even remember. I just knew that it was worth it. Season pass type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of challenges. It'll keep me going for a long time. It's taking time away from some other projects that I'm supposed to be doing and some other work. But it's almost too hot to do any work here right now. So, I have all the time off during the summer, but it's too hot to do anything. So, weird conundrum. But, yeah, that's what I'm geeking out about. Check it out. If anybody does Game Pass, I think it's on Game Pass. So, yeah, that's what I'm geeking out about.
I'm actually geeking out about a book. which we don't talk about very often here on the podcast. But there's with all the traveling that I was doing, I got a audiobook called Super Mario: How Nintendo Conquered America. That's all about the development of Super Mario the game and how Nintendo came to be, and it is intriguingly awesome finding out how much luck and like just weird timing everything that we know as current Nintendo started out to be. And it's kind of fascinating for anybody that's like a gamer or a geek or just likes Super Mario Brothers or likes history or likes business or whatever, because it goes through everything. I'm about halfway through the book, and we're still only like right at the point where Famicom just exploded, worldwide, 3 million copies in their first year, and then the development of the NES. And so it's been a fascinating read, and so I highly recommend it. It's called Super Mario: How Nintendo Conquered America by Jeff Ryan.
That's pretty awesome. It reminds me a lot of those like the Netflix documentaries on like gaming history and stuff. It's always interesting and a little bit depressing to think that like a lot of our childhood is now in museums and they're considered historical documentaries. And that's a little makes me want to throw up a little bit. But speaking of
depresses me hearing you say it.
Yeah. Speaking of old games and stuff, my son, now that he's on summer break, he's been showing a lot more interest in my video game collection that I have. That's been on the wall, for his entire life. But he's just coming to realize that all those things on the wall, each one of those little gray boxes on the side is a separate game. He's like, each one of those is another game. I'm like, yeah, dude. It's like, what? Yeah. I'm like, what do you want? Tell me what you want. You want some Ninja Turtles? And I feel like a drug dealer or something. You want some Ninja Turtles? I got some Ninja Turtles. You want Ninja Turtles 1? Super hard. The damn level will F your life up, pretty much. You want to play, Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game? Manhattan Project, Ninja Turtles 3. We played some Ninja Turtles 4. We did that. Turtles in Time, awesome game. Play a little bit of that. You want TMNT Tournament Fighter for Super Nintendo? We could play that. I mean, just let me know. Oh, you want some Star Wars? And I kept naming all these IPs, and he was like naming a couple, and it was just, I was blowing his mind a little bit, I think. So we've been doing that, and he also got, his birthday was 2 weeks after mine, and he got the Daily Planet Lego set. Not Daily Planet, excuse me. Daily Bugle. The Daily Bugle Lego set. It's 3,700 plus pieces. It's the largest set we have in the house. It's got 20, maybe a little bit more minifigs. It's insane. He loves minifigs, and that's like the entire top lid of the box is just like all of them stacked like in like a little formation of which ones they have, and he was just like going into so much detail with all the different iterations of Spider-Man villains and characters and like tertiary stuff. They have like Daredevil and like Punisher and all, Blade and all these other characters that I don't necessarily always think of as like Spider-Man related. Well, yeah, a little bit. But he's asking me like, who is Blade? Like, who's Punisher? I'm like, okay, how do I describe Punisher? Well, he's a good guy who does bad things to get, it's a little tricky. I'm like, you know how Batman doesn't want to kill anybody? He's like, yeah. I'm like, he's like Batman, but doesn't care about who he kills. He's like, oh. So he's like in between a good guy and a bad guy. I'm like, yeah, kinda. Yeah, a little bit. So it's kind of funny skirting that. And he's like, I can't watch that, right? And he always asks that, like, it's for grown-ups? Yeah, buddy. Okay. So he's got like a whole list he's building in his head of all these properties that I've kind of put in the kibosh on just because he's too young. He's gonna he's constantly asking me if he's old enough to watch X or Y or Z. So it's kind of.
I think there is a cartoon.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Punisher. That's like kind of like Saturday morning cartoon, but with the three of them.
I'll have to check that out. Maybe it's on Disney Plus or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just sort of doing finally the day is coming, and it's fun to be able to show him all these old things, and then still sprinkle in some newer stuff. Like I've got all the Nintendo Labo kits that they ever made, and a couple of them I haven't 100% finished, and so I broke some of those out. He's like playing piano with like the cardboard piano, and then there's like one. It's like a little house that's got like a little critter inside. They put different attachments on the different house and like crank things and push buttons, and he thought that was the coolest thing. Just that it's all cardboard. And I'm like, I've been saving this for you.
So I have a question.
Yep.
I'm playing through Breath of the Wild again, and I noticed in the menu that there's an option for VR.
Yep.
Have you done Breath of the Wild in VR, and is it worth it?
I have not done that. I have that one. I have the VR set. It also interfaces with Mario Odyssey, I believe, but I think it's only a subsection of each game. I don't think you could run the whole game through.
Like,
far
it's
as I know,
not
it's
like
not
a
the whole
look
game.
around and it changes the perspective of the
Yeah.
game. Or it's just like you see it in 3D instead
No,
of...
it's like you're looking through Link's eyes in certain sections, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, he asked me about the Virtual Boy the last couple of days, because that's one of the things I've always said he's like too young to play, because there are actual warnings when you boot the thing up and look in the manuals. Like, that's part of the problem with that marketing of that system, is that it can actually affect people, like kids' eyes, if they're looking into it too much. And that's why they, along the same veins as, I mean, it's like 20 plus years later when they came out with the 2DS, because they took the 3D aspect out of the 3DS because it is more stressful on like a developing set of eyes to focus in on the 3D aspect of it than like not. And so I've always been teasing him like, oh, you're not old enough quite yet to play it. So I think I might have him play just a little bit of that just to kind of whet his appetite for VR, because he's already played Oculus. So I guess that argument is moot at this point. But
It's still a little bit different.
yeah, you think so?
It is still a little bit different,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, when the actual slider on the Virtual Boy like has a measurement for ocular, like the distance between their like pupils and stuff, like as part of the setup, it seems a little more intrusive to a kid. I don't know, just something about it. Like it's one step away from like a implant, which I guess would be kind of cool, but I don't know. Once we go into the VR stuff a little bit more with Nintendo, I'll circle back around and I'll check that out and give you a more accurate review, because I haven't actually done those yet, which is something that's been on my list. I just sort of honestly forgot about the VR. I built a little VR thing, and there's like a little demo you can do with it, but it's not super comfortable to have the Switch weighted on the front of your head. It's a little cumbersome and sketchy too. Like you don't want it to fall out or whatever, but I'll report back.
I was just confused for a second
Yeah.
because I'm like, wait a minute, is there like an Oculus version for Nintendo? Like, how have I never heard of this? But it's the Labo
Right.
set.
It was the fourth Labo set that they had. That was a VR set, and so they have like a area you can build your own experience within the game, and then they also have a couple first-party games that they added the features or functionality after the fact.
That's super cool. One thing I did want to mention, and I'm kind of blaming Sean for this. So the Lightyear movie came out, and Disney put out a documentary on Disney Plus called Beyond Infinity, which for anybody that likes documentaries or Disney's or not Disney, this is Pixar obviously, but like seeing how they do it, it's really cool. And that documentary kind of got to me a little bit because when I was working at Disney, one of the big productions that we were working on for most of the time that I was there was Lilo and Stitch. And in the animation department, they always like immerse the area with whatever theme the movie that they're working on is about. And so because it was Lilo and Stitch, they had, everything was Hawaiian themed. Everybody wore like Hawaiian stuff. They had decorations everywhere. And throughout the animation studio, they had these bamboo huts. Because in the animation studio, they want to spark people's creativity, and so there's places where you can like play games or like take a nap or like play or all this kind of stuff. And they set up these bamboo huts just to be able to give people a place to be inspired. And it was funny because watching this documentary of Beyond Infinity, them talking about the Buzz Lightyear movie, they were talking about the history of Pixar and all that kind of stuff, and they were showing shots from within the Pixar studios. And one of the shots in the Pixar studio is a bamboo hut, like in the middle of this like commons area. I'm like, I'm sure, like I'm like 99% sure that it is not one of the same huts that they had from Lilo and Stitch. But that said, I have not missed Disney so much in a single moment as I did sitting there watching that documentary about Buzz Lightyear and seeing that little bamboo hut. And so because of that, and because of like keeping up with Sean and all the stuff that he does with his class, I've decided to start drawing again. And so I busted out my sketchbook, and my daughter and I have been doing drawing sessions in the morning together so that I can get back into drawing. And it's been an experience. Thank you, Sean.
Of course. You know, I was cut off a little bit when I was talking about Disneyland towards the beginning of the show. Hopefully my mic is a little bit better now. So we spent one day at Disneyland and the next day, another day at California Adventure. And I had not been to California Adventure since the day it opened, however many years ago at this point. So it's a brand new theme park to me. So seeing Avengers Campus, which I thought was kind of cool but limited. But the reason why I bring it up related to what you were saying, Donovan, is one of my daughter's favorite experiences in the entire park was where we got to sit down and they showed us how to draw a character from a Disney film, which is Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. They gave us, you know, it'd be like a light table, but it was like a single plane light table with an animation peg on it. You sit there and you draw, and it was her favorite experience out of the entire thing. She wants to do it again. So, yep. Animation is cool.
That's awesome.
You know what else is cool?
Our patrons over at patreon.com/Geeks.
Yes, sir.
Every time we release an episode of this podcast, they put their money where our mouths are, and they help us keep the lights on here at the show with their financial contributions, and we appreciate each and every one of them so much for what they do, including our top patrons, Jordan Rempel, Square Splinter, and Clinton from C3D Prop Shop. Thank you guys so much.
Oh my gosh, have we been out of this so long I forgot my cue? So with that flawless segue, we each have our own social media accounts that we post all of our content on, the behind the scenes of stuff that we're working on or doing or not working on, but still doing, that kind of thing. So if you want to see all the stuff that Sean is working on, you can follow him over at Geek Builders. If you want to see all the stuff that Wes is working on, you can follow him at Geek Smithing. And if you want to see all the stuff that I'm working on, you can follow me at Once Upon a Workbench.
And in case you didn't know, we have a website, meggeeks.com. You can go there, check out the site, and on the contact page, you can list suggestions for the show, ideas for topics. And then on the homepage of the site, you can listen to all of our past episodes right there in your favorite browser of choice. And if you have a chance, go ahead and check out the shop for some Making Geeks themed merchandise. Want to thank everybody for hanging out in the live chat with us. Always makes the show a little bit more fun recording and seeing the side conversation going on during that time. If you want to be part of that fun time, we record every Thursday night, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, and 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 Central. No, 8:30.
8:30 Central. Yep.
I'm looking at the time right now. I got mixed up.
Yeah, be good.
Yep. And you can also find a new episode of the show every Saturday morning on your favorite podcast player of choice. So from all of us to all of you, have a great week. Try to stay cool.
Bye.
See you next time.
Ciao.